members of the forum, Nisa Mbulavinaka, and good morning from Fiji. It is my pleasure to join you virtually, and I am happy to contribute to the discussions. I am sure you all will find this forum both timely and relevant as it aims to generate meaningful dialogues and innovative solutions. I understand that there are time limitations, so I will keep my intervention very brief. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji is made up of 330 islands in the South Pacific, with just less than 1 million in population. According to ADB, Fiji is projected to grow 6% in 2023 and 3% in 2024. This is backed by a 15% growth in 2022. Whilst our central bank mentions that Fiji has high liquidity in our system, however, the challenge is finding ways to unlock the funds and provide confidence to financial institutions to take a bit more risk with responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are currently recovering from the aftershock of the COVID-19 pandemic, it gives us an opportunity to reset and rethink our economic strategies. Just over the weekend, I had the pleasure of meeting various segments of micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, who made it clear that more needs to be done in unlocking finance and also improving the ease of doing business. In order to have a truly robust entrepreneurial system in place, governments cannot do it alone. The government's role as policymakers is to create an enabling environment for our businesses and entrepreneurs to prosper. Our business environment must give the private sector and investors the confidence to invest and need the freedom to be innovative. There needs to be a strong working relationship and trust between the private sector and government. And this cannot happen in a heavily regulated environment. In building an entrepreneurial system, the government must have the empathy to listen and the political will to implement changes. Our private sector is continuously calling for the ease of doing business by removing unnecessary regulation and compliance requirements. Yes, laws are important as they set the rules of engagement, but we cannot over-regulate the private sector. There needs to be balance. Secondly, by providing and unlocking the opportunities to easily access low-cost financing, that is why the government of Fiji, through this ministry, has invested more than 102 million in MSMEs in the forms of grants. We have also partnered with the private sector and the banks in developing products that assist and reduce the cost of access to finance for businesses, and particularly during and post the COVID eras. This has come in the form of guarantees, also paying interest components on loans for MSMEs, and wage subsidies. We also need to ensure that there is access to business advisory, upskilling, training, and mentoring opportunities. This empowers and equips our entrepreneurs to learn and understand the basics of doing business and improve their business acumen. As a government, we must invest in the correct infrastructure, whether it's roads, electricity, water, or IT services. These essential infrastructure unlocks economic opportunities for entrepreneurs to expand and diversify. Additionally, it definitely helps when the private sector is able to organize themselves into apex bodies or associations that often can be used as a bridge to lobby and discuss policies with government. However, these associations must be backed by good governance, inclusivity, and the willingness to serve the interests of the industry. Generally, if you have a government willing to listen, one will realize that often the private sector identifies the problems and provides the solutions as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I now wish to share a few insights about bridging the gap to access expert knowledge and financial opportunities. At a national level, Our development partners stand ready to always assist us when called upon. However, we take a deep dive into our economic sectors. We are well aware of the financial challenges compounded by non-financial factors as well. Fiji is vulnerable to external shocks such as pandemics, natural disasters, and as policymakers, we need to ensure we have a business environment that is resilient and sustainable. Given our vulnerability and economic risks, government cannot be forking out funds for disaster recovery and climatic events. That is why we have partnered with the UN Capital Development Fund, or UNCDF, in parametric insurance for our MSMEs and community-based businesses. How this basically works is that if a business is impacted by a natural disaster, such as a flood or cyclone, they will receive an immediate payout as insurance to kickstart their recovery process. We need such innovative and tailor-made financing solutions to keep the economy resilient during times of crisis. Our private sector, particularly the MSMEs, have made strong calls to develop green policies. We are also working with donor partners and the private sector in this regard. We have also witnessed firsthand how Fiji businesses that are off the grid use renewable energy and clean energy to actually unlock their economic potential. For instance, by funding solar freezers and cold storage for our businesses in the maritime islands, they are able to catch, store and preserve their produce, normally fish and root crops, and sell them at a later time. It empowers them to negotiate the true economic value with their customers. Another emerging opportunity that is developing in Fiji is in the area of carbon trading. We have seen how our resource owners who organize themselves formally into cooperatives are able to preserve their natural resources, for instance forests, and subsequently able to sell carbon units to high carbon emitters. While this is a long-term sustainable solution, these cooperatives have also diversified into other revenue streams, such as the production of honey. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I call upon this forum to make use of this platform and determine meaningful outcomes and draw up action plans to be implemented. We all have a responsibility to ensure that we progress the development of our nations. We must continue to work together and share ideas. I thank you for the invitation to be part of this forum. Thank you, and Vinaka Pakalewa.